It's 4:47 in the afternoon. Your old dog has been in that same patch of sunlight for almost 2 hours. You walked past them to get water. You walked past them when the neighbor's car pulled up. The tennis ball sitting 3 feet away, the one they used to lose their mind over, might as well not exist. But their eyes haven't left you. Not once. Not frantic. Not desperate. Just steady. This quiet, unhurried attention that doesn't quite match anything you remember from when they were young. And there's one more thing, something so small,
There's my good
you almost
boy,
talked yourself out of noticing it.
always right here with me.
But the very tip of it, just that last inch, gives this slow, soft beat every single time you walk by. Like it's keeping time to something only they can hear. You've crossed that room 4 times in the last hour. They tracked every single one. You just didn't know what you were seeing. Not yet. Here's what most people tell themselves when their dog starts slowing down. They're just tired. They're getting a little confused. They're starting to pull away. And honestly, it feels like the kind thing to think. It feels like acceptance. It assumes that as a dog's body fades, so does their need for you. And that's not what the science shows. Not even a little. What researchers have actually found is almost the opposite. In the final phase of a dog's life, the regions of the brain tied to social bonding don't go quiet. They stay active. In some cases, they become more active. The dog lying still in the afternoon light isn't disconnecting from you. They're doing something that looks like stillness from the outside. But from the inside, it's the opposite of letting go. Tired isn't the same as absent. Slow isn't the same as gone. And here's the part that breaks people a little when they finally hear it. Most owners only understand this after the last day. After the house goes quiet and they find themselves replaying 100 ordinary afternoons. And finally really seeing what was actually happening in them. That's the gap we're closing today. By the time this is over, you'll be able to read what your dog is doing right now, not as decline, but as communication. And there's one thing in particular, something that every owner who has ever lost a senior dog carries with them.
Who's a good dog?
That I'm going to tell you.
Yes, you are.
Stay with
My
me.
sweet boy.
In 2017, researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest decided to study something most scientists hadn't thought to measure: the quality of eye contact between aging dogs and their primary owners. They followed 50 senior dogs over the final 6 months of their lives, tracking the duration, frequency, and intentionality of gaze behavior directed specifically at the person each dog lived with most. What they found stopped the research team. Eye contact between senior dogs and their owners didn't decrease as the dog's health declined. It increased. On average, the dogs in that study held eye contact with their primary human 34% longer in their final months than they had at earlier stages of their lives. Not with strangers, not with other family members, with one person, the one they had chosen. Think about that for a second. There's a parallel here that's hard to sit with, but worth sitting with. Neurologists who study end-of-life behavior in humans have documented something similar in patients with advanced illness. When verbal language becomes difficult or impossible, eye contact becomes the primary channel for everything that still needs to be said. Love, gratitude, recognition. The quiet insistence that says, I'm still here. I still know you. I still choose you. Your dog has been doing this, without words, their entire life. In the final chapter, they simply do it more. So what does a 34% increase in eye contact actually mean when you take it out of the lab and bring it home? It means that every long look your old dog holds on you isn't vacancy. It isn't confusion. It isn't the glassy stare of a mind going dim. It's attention of the deepest kind. The kind that stopped being casual a while ago and became something more deliberate. Something closer to study. They're looking at you the way you look at something you're trying to hold on to. You know that feeling. Think of someone you love who had to leave a long trip. A hard goodbye. Any moment where you knew time was running short. You didn't look away. You looked more. You memorized the particular way they smiled. The sound of their voice saying something ordinary. You stored it, almost without meaning to. Your dog is doing the same thing. They're not leaving you. They're memorizing you. That's what the stillness is. That's what the quiet watching is. It's not withdrawal. It's a kind of devoted attention that most of us will never receive from another human being. Focused, wordless, completely without agenda. They're not replaying yesterday or bracing for what's next. There's only now. And in now, there's only you. This instinct to turn toward the one you love as time narrows didn't begin with your dog. It's far, far older than that. In 1914, archaeologists excavating a burial site near Bonn, Germany, uncovered something it would take nearly a century to fully understand. The site Bonn Oberkassel held the remains of a man and a woman who lived approximately 14,700 years ago. Buried alongside them was a dog. Not the bones of a healthy adult. A puppy, no older than 7 months, who had survived at least 2 severe bouts of canine distemper, a disease so debilitating that recovery without intensive and sustained human care would have been nearly impossible. Someone kept that puppy alive through months of illness. Cleaned up after them. Stayed close. Fed them when they couldn't eat on their own. All of this with no guarantee the animal would survive. No practical reason to bother. And when the time came, they were buried together. Researchers who analyzed the site were clear the level of care required to nurse a dog through repeated distemper episodes at that point in history would have been significant. These weren't people with extra resources. They chose to do it anyway. Because the bond was real. Because even leaving a sick animal was something they weren't willing to do. That was 14,700 years ago. Before written language, before cities, before almost everything we call civilization. The instinct your old dog is showing you right now, turning toward you, staying close, making sure you're seen, it's not new, it's ancient. It's been carried forward across every generation of dogs since before our ancestors had words for what it meant. What you're witnessing in your living room is the final expression of a covenant older than recorded human history. This bond was never just companionship. It was always something more. Now, there are three things senior dogs in their final season tend to do. And they're so quiet, so easy to wave away, that most owners file them under just getting old and move on. But they're not nothing. Each one is a specific, deliberate form of communication. And once you know what to look for, you won't be able to unsee it. The first is where they choose to rest. Not just somewhere soft, somewhere close to something that smells like you. Your worn jacket draped over the arm of the chair, the shoes you kicked off by the door, the pillow that slid off the couch 3 days ago and you haven't gotten around to picking up. Dogs have always used scent as their primary emotional anchor, but in older dogs, this becomes more intentional, more specific. They're not just resting. They're surrounding themselves with you in the only way available to them when you're not physically in the room. Pay attention to where your dog settles in the next few days. It'll tell you something. The second sign is in how they lick your hand. Not the quick, reflexive greeting lick of a younger dog who's half distracted and already moving on to the next thing. Something slower. Something that pauses. There's a quality to it that owners almost always describe the same way. When they look back, like it meant something. Behaviorists who study affiliative behavior in aging dogs have noted that this kind of deliberate, prolonged licking is a form of grooming-based bonding, the same behavior wolves use to reinforce connection within a pack. Your dog isn't being sentimental in a human sense. They're doing something deeply biological. They're tending to you. The third sign is the hardest to catch because it happens in the silence between you. When your old dog lies down beside you and finally settles, listen for the moment their breathing begins to slow and fall into rhythm with yours. Research into interspecies respiratory synchrony has found that dogs and their primary owners resting in close proximity will often sync their breathing patterns. Particularly older dogs who've spent years reading the physical cues of the person they live with. It isn't accidental. It's attunement. They're finding your rhythm and matching it because your rhythm means safety. And safety is what they most want to give you back. Which one is your dog doing right now? If you recognized any of these, you're not imagining things. You're finally paying the right kind of attention. And here's the part almost no one expects. When researchers at the University of Vienna studied the hormonal profiles of senior dogs in 2019, they measured two things: oxytocin, the hormone tied to bonding and affection, and cortisol, which tracks stress and anxiety. The assumption going in was straightforward. Older dogs in declining health would show higher cortisol and lower oxytocin. More fear, less connection. It seemed obvious. The results were the opposite. In dogs during the final phase of their lives, oxytocin levels during interactions with their primary owners didn't decrease. They held steady, and in a significant number of cases, they rose slightly. Cortisol, meanwhile, dropped. These dogs weren't more afraid. They weren't suffering the anxiety their owners kept projecting onto them. By every hormonal measure available, they were calmer and more bonded than they'd been at any earlier stage of their lives. Let that actually land. Your old dog isn't scared. They're not mourning the life they used to have, the runs they can't take anymore. the stairs they can't climb. They've moved into a state that is, chemically and neurologically, closer to peace than almost any point in their earlier years. The one carrying the fear in this relationship, the grief, the low hum of dread about what's coming, that's you. And your dog knows. They've always been able to read your cortisol the way you read a weather forecast. They feel the anxiety underneath you when you watch them sleep a little too long, when you count their breaths, when you sit beside them just a few minutes longer than you used to, and tell yourself you're just enjoying the afternoon. They feel it, and they keep looking at you anyway. Not to tell you to stop being afraid, but to tell you, in the only language they've ever had, that they're okay. That you're the reason they're okay. That the life they've lived beside you has brought them to this. To stillness. To warmth. To a love so settled, it doesn't need to perform itself anymore. Your dog isn't the one who needs comfort right now. They're trying to give it to you. There's a particular kind of grief that dog owners carry quietly. Almost none of them talk about it out loud. It's not the grief of loss, though, that comes. It's the grief that arrives earlier, softer, more private. And it sounds something like this. I was gone too much. I raised my voice that one time, and I've never stopped thinking about it. I forgot to fill the water bowl and didn't notice until evening. I was on my phone. When she wanted to play, she brought me that squeaky toy she's had since she was 8 weeks old, and I just didn't look up. I put him in another room because I needed quiet, and he scratched at the door, and I didn't open it. If you've ever lain awake running a list like that, you're not alone. Most people who love their dogs deeply carry some version of it. And the closer they get to the end, the louder that list gets. Here's what you need to understand about how your dog's memory actually works. Dogs don't store experience the way we do. Human memory is episodic. We file specific moments, specific failures, and we go back to them. We cross-reference them. We build a case against ourselves, line by line, year by year. Dogs don't have that architecture. Their emotional memory isn't a ledger of individual events. It's something closer to a cumulative feeling, an overall atmospheric record of whether the world and the person at the center of it felt safe. And here's the thing. What your dog has stored over the years isn't a highlight reel of the times you got it wrong. It's the accumulated warmth of every time you came home. Every meal, every walk, in any weather. Even the ones where you were tired and didn't really want to go. Every night they fell asleep against your leg on the couch. Every morning you reached down without thinking, still half asleep, coffee in hand, and touched their head. That's what lives in them. That's what they're drawing from right now. In the stillness. In the watching. In the slow, deliberate way they keep turning toward you. Your dog isn't keeping a list of what you got wrong. They're keeping the warmth of what you got right. And that warmth across 10, 12, 15 years of ordinary days is enormous. It's the whole of what they know about being alive. You're not someone who failed them. You're the reason they know what safety feels like at all. Let that be enough. Because for them, It always has been.